Let's bring in Fox News digital politics editor and Power Play host, Chris Stirewalt. Chris, I read your column religiously. Ted Cruz, he's already going after Donald Trump on the campaign trail, talking about his New York values, which is a Southern code for a heathen liberal Yankee.
Well, they don't, to be fair, and first thing I need to say is, if there's any Stirewalts in Munford, Tennessee, I want them to know that I've been loving them the whole time. I mean, we got some people down that way, and that I've been loving them the whole time. I've been for them. But it's not just in the South that people don't like New York. It is all across the country. People in Minnesota probably don't tell their kids they want to have New York values. Not that there's anything wrong with New York. But this is, yes, a coded attack, and it works two ways for Cruz. It works on the political side because New York Republicans generally are not conservative Republicans. They're Rockefeller Republicans or Giuliani Republicans. And I think Trump does fit that mold on the Giuliani Republican side. Then they are also socially, personally, do not tend towards, shall we say, Wednesday night church.
Yeah, but do Trump's supporters care? So many of his supporters are working class, union, even Democrats. They don't care where he's from. They just care that he sends a strong message. I'm going to attack everybody who's against the U.S. in the way that I go after people who are against me.
Right. And so Donald Trump's support is a miracle. It's not a miracle. It is a
phenomenon.
It's a predictable result of a broken two-party system. A bunch of Donald Trump's support is in the Democratic Party, and probably a fifth of Democrats, probably 20% or more of Democrats are probably Trump, right? They probably look at Hillary Clinton and they say, low energy, this is not what I want, apologizes for America, I don't like her either. So Donald Trump's support is, as we say in West Virginia, about driving, he takes his half out of the middle. His supporters are blue collar.
He's on a two-lane highway driving in the middle lane.
Yeah.
Boom, exactly. And when the coal truck comes,
which takes guts,
right?
Which is
Exactly.
Donald Trump.
And you better get over to the side when the coal truck's coming around the side of the mountain. The point being, can you translate that to primary victories? Ted Cruz knows this. The actual Republican base is Christian, conservative, Southern, Midwestern, and these are the people that, when people in magazines and newspapers and on MSNBC lament the Republican Party, they are lamenting a Republican Party that is Ted Cruz's Republican Party, that is Christian and conservative, that Republican Party. They're not talking about Donald Trump's moderate, blue-collar, fired-up base.
Right. Let's talk about the debate, because tonight it's going to be critical, for which you've been writing about, for Ted Cruz to attack Donald effectively, which Jeb waited too long to do, which Ben Carson waited too long to do. How do you do it tonight?
Okay, so there's a lot of different strategies on that stage, but I think that Cruz is going to be the one that's going to have to stand up to him this time. You know, Jeb stood up to him last time.
But it sounded canned.
I understand
because the lines were canned and he had waited too long.
And I understand that, and he's been criticized for that. But his path would be, he's got to be the establishment candidate versus Trump. Cruz has the most interesting point, to your point, about being in that center lane, Dagan, because he's one leg in the establishment, one leg in the anti-establishment, and so he's the one that can sort of bump Trump off of that road that you're describing. And so he's the one that has to come out here very aggressively. But my fear for all these candidates with Donald Trump is that he has been absolutely masterful at taking those punches and deflecting them. And my question to you is, why is he so good at that?
He's so good at it because he doesn't engage on the actual question, right? He doesn't feel the secret in politics is, do not answer the question. Answer the question you want to answer. And Trump is very good when you say, sir, your position on this is inconsistent, or sir, you are flip-flopping on this, or sir, that is not a conservative value. You make the Trump
yeah, he doesn't even need to communicate with words.
He makes a human GIF,
right,
and turns away, and then he says, I understand why you say that, because you're such a terrible loser, and that's why you're over there. And he goes right to you and right to insulting you, and he gets right after you, and he doesn't ever say, well, actually, it's interesting. I used to feel this way, and then we changed our position when the tax code changed. Nope. He just blows it off and then attacks you.
Let me ask you this. What's worse, being a Canadian, a New Yorker, or somebody who works on Wall Street? Because there's that story out today
I'm not
about
a
Ted
Canadian,
Cruz.
though. I just want to be on record
About
with
Ted
that.
Cruz.
I'm only two out of three horrific
bad.
things.
That's right.
Didn't disclose a loan from Goldman Sachs where his wife worked.
I smell syrup.
During his Senate campaign.
Does
it hurt?
Well, look, here's the deal. That story is a little jakey. That story, Ted Cruz did disclose that. He just didn't. He filed it on this form. He didn't file it on that form. So it's a little bit of a little jakey. Be careful if you're a Republican candidate about going after Ted Cruz about this. Number one, it's the New York Times.
Yep.
Number two,
who wrote about Marco Rubio's speedboat, and it was a fishing boat.
And his traffic tickets.
You know where you can stick that story.
Don't jack with Heidi Cruz. Heidi Cruz is Ted Cruz's super secret weapon, and anybody who is fool enough to get into this and say, well, your wife works on Wall Street, not only do you open up the door for Ted Cruz to say, hey, leave my old lady out of this, but it also opens the door for, well, let's hear from Heidi Cruz. She's very good. I mean, she's very good.
And I want to just point that out. And Ted Cruz, he ran the Princeton debate team, right?
Right.
So maybe we finally, you know,
Not
what tricks does he have up his sleeve?
Not bad for a Canadian sleeper cell.
And he's also built an incredible ground organization in these states, and so you have to give him credit for that as well.
Yeah, again, it gets
taking a page from Senator Obama's 2008 playbook with the voter registration campaign.
Before we go, describe the upcoming debate tonight in 2 words. Go. 2 words. Only 2 words.
2 words would be pairs boxing.
Love it. Chris Stirewalt, love you too. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Chris Stirewalt, bye.